It's Matthew Smith, and I hope you guys are all enjoying and staying cozy during this nice winter snowstorm, or mini snowstorm. But today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make brown butter banana bread, which is the perfect comfort food to enjoy as dessert for the Super Bowl and breakfast for Valentine's Day. So let's get started. So there's going to be 3 steps in making this banana bread. The first step will be making our brown butter. Our second step will be assembling and combining the ingredients to make the banana bread. And the third step, and the most important, will be baking it and eating it. Alright, so let's get started. So first let's make the brown butter, so I'll be right back. I have some butter in the fridge. I didn't want to leave it out because then it'd get too soggy, but it's about 1 stick of butter, and I sliced it up really thinly. I'm going to turn on my burner as well. And I'm going to slice the butter again. And if you want to come over here, it's quite thin. We're going to do this. Doesn't need to be perfect, but this way, when you put it in on the pan, it melts very quickly. Perfect. And now brown butter is basically butter that's melted. We take it a step further by browning it, and this gives it a nice richness and depth of flavor. Almost like cutting cheese. Alright, perfect. Now my hands always get so buttery, it always happens every time. So I'm just gonna spray some alcohol. And then that normally helps get the butter away. Alright, so come follow me over here. Pan looks ready, and we're going to add that in. Getting that last piece of butter. Now we're just going to stir it. So you want to stir it frequently because we don't want it to get burnt. You know, I love making breads on winter days. So relaxing. So now we've got it melted, and now we're going to just wait for it to get brown. Alright, almost there. And after this, we're going to put it into the freezer so it can cool down a little bit. And then we're going to leave it in liquid form. But let's say you wanted fluffier banana bread, you could actually refrigerate. You could actually leave the butter after it's brown and let it solidify. And then you could beat it up, and that makes for an ultra fluffy banana bread. But I'm just going to keep it nice and simple and just refrigerate it for a couple of minutes. Nice and crackle-lacking. And you're starting to see now we're getting that golden brownness. And we're starting to get that brownness. Almost there. I think that's good. Pour this in here. I'm going to try my best not to spill. Alright, we did that. Perfect. I'm going to put that in the freezer now. I'm going to let it cool before we continue. Alright, so it's time to get started on to step 2, which is assembling the banana bread. So here I have 250 grams of all-purpose sifted flour. Now I like using grams because it's a more exact measurement, but if you want to use cups, it's about 2 cups. And now to really make it have a nice warm aroma, we're going to add in a teaspoon of cinnamon. I like Vietnamese cinnamon. I love the warmth it brings. To enhance that, we're going to add in a teaspoon of nutmeg and a teaspoon of ground ginger. That's going to add a little bit of acidity. I cannot pronounce that word. That's just a great blend of spices. My reminds me of the holidays. And now we're gonna add in a teaspoon of baking powder. This will help our bread rise. And for the last of our dry ingredients, we're gonna add in half a cup of brown sugar. And as you can see here, it's kind of in a cup shape. And my family and consumer science teacher from Mount Pleasant Middle School, Miss DeAngelis, she actually taught me that a good way to know you measured brown sugar correctly is that it should, when you bring it out, it should be molded into the shape of your measuring cup. So that's a really nice tip I like to use. Ooh, little flour mess there. And we'll mix that up. Alright. Now if you want to make it sweeter, you could totally add some more brown sugar. Alright, now similar to making pasta, we're going to make kind of a well, and then we're going to, for our wet ingredients, and I do this with all types of handmade breads, and then we'll slowly incorporate the flour. To that, we're going to add 2 eggs. Cracking them on the counter helps me not get too much shell in there. I'll wash my hands real quick. And it's time to continue. Alright, and with that, we're going to add in a 1/3 cup of sour cream, but I find it sticks to my measuring cup, so what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of oil, put it in my measuring cup, and then kind of just wipe it around. Alright, that's good. And now I'll add a 1/3 cup of sour cream. Ooh. And then we're being real creative today, so I'll use a chopstick as my leveler. Alright, a little messy, that's good. And then we'll add it in. And see, nothing in the middle. Alright, and now my friend's grandmother actually uses this trick to add a little bit of acidity, now I can pronounce it, and a little bit of fruitiness. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of orange juice. But this is optional. And now, let's see. Oh, and I almost forgot. Now it's time to add in our brown butter. So let me go get that from the fridge. Alright, it feels about good. I have washed my hands so I can check the temperature. That feels good. Alright, so now we don't want our eggs to temper, which means we want to temper them, meaning that we don't want our eggs to scramble. So by adding in the brown butter slowly, that will help our eggs not scramble. Alright, let's try. And a little bit at a time, not a lot. I'm going to beat it up real quick. And slowly adding in the liquid ingredient. I like using a fork because a whisk always gets so stuck, so fork's my favorite to use. And for those of you making this at home, this is a good time to start preheating your oven to 350 degrees. And we can add in a little more. We don't want to over whisk this because what happens is that a little sciencey concept is that the flour will start to become tough and your banana bread will start to become chewy. So now I think we can add in a little more. Getting a good workout today. A little more. Finally, we can add the rest. Now you can also add in nuts to your banana bread, but I'm going to keep it simple and just leave it like this. bananas will also add a lot of moisture. So like an apple fritter batter, your batter will be very thick. Alright, so we got pretty much everything. And now it's time to mash our bananas. So I have some bananas that I've been mashing here. And I like to use a fork because then I feel like I have more control over the size. Oh, that's a little hard there. And we're using 3 bananas, but if you have a banana that's over ripening, you can add that in too. I like some nice good chunks. Perfect, we can add that in now. Looks delicious. Now I'm gonna start folding the batter, which means I'm gonna go down from the top. I'm gonna lift it up on itself and go over. Do that again. Alright, one more, couple more. Alright, we got everything in. And now it's time to add it into our baking pan. So for my baking pan, you can really use whichever one you like, but I like to butter it up real good, but you can also use pan spray. And so I like taking some butter that's at room temperature. You can put it in the microwave for 5 seconds. And as you can see, I really like to get it greased up, especially on the corners right here, because that's where I have the most trouble. Alright. That should be good. Wash my hands real quick, or use the alcohol spray. And now we're ready to add this into this. And if you can just pour it in, more kudos to you. Want to make sure it's even, especially around the corners. Just there. It smells so heavenly right now. Should be good. And the thing is that personally, I don't like to bring my pan down to level it out because I feel like it kind of ruins some of the air pockets we've formed already and will cause our banana bread to deflate. Add all of that goodness in. And now you can smooth it out. And we're ready to put this into the oven, 350 degrees for 55 minutes. Alright, I'll wash my hands, and now yesterday I actually already made a loaf of banana bread. Now although you might be tempted to eat it today, banana bread is actually better the next day. So if you come over here, I took out the banana bread out of the baking tray fairly early after it was baked because otherwise we'll get a soggy bottom. Here's the final product. And now to add a little bit of sweetness, now you don't have to do this, but also to keep all that good moisture in, I'm going to top it with a little bit of honey, a nice honey glaze. Nice and glistening. Alright, this looks so, alright, that looks quite good. And now, my favorite part, step 3, is to eat it. Not a big fan of the end pieces, so so I'll save that for somebody else. I'll get a nice piece right here. All right. And now it's time to eat. So bon appetit. I'll take a bite of it. It reminds me of when I used to make this in the summertime and sitting outside reading a book and enjoying this, but I guess this time I'll stay inside and stay cozied up. Very moist. I love it. And now before I go, I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Raymer for inviting me to spend yet another Valentine's Day with my community. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.